Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is Nick Atkin on South China Morning Post in Hong Kong. This is the SCMP MMA Post Fight Podcast. We are back live with myself and JHK, John Hyunko. John, I'm going to come to you. How's everything going, sir?
Going good, man. Going good. Can't complain. Life is moving forward. And that's it, man. Just moving forward. And I'm excited to get you back on, or not get you back on, but get back on here with you, Nick. It's been, you've been MIA, man, with the Olympics and everything going on. It's been a wild couple of weeks for you, huh?
It has been a while, couple of weeks. Yeah, we did the fight companion on Friday. That was good. That was a little bit of fun. But this is my first podcast back. So we're starting off with a banger about the One Championship Empower card and all the changes. The changes again. They've made more changes, John. They can't settle on a lineup for this Grand Prix, can they? Bloody hell.
No,
It's,
they can't.
we've had how many opponents has Meng Bo had now? Three. She's back to her original opponent, Ritu Phogat. We're going to get into that again. We're going to get into some of the other fights that have been added. There are prelims again, like we alluded to last week on the companion. One Championship has got prelims on again. They're going back to all live cards. This is a huge step forward for them. We'll get into all of that. We'll get into some of the other news outside of one, of course, in the UFC. A lot of beefing going on with Nate and Dustin and Connor and Usman, things like that. Sure, John has got a
Oh,
few
God.
topics he wants to
Oh,
discuss
God.
as well. We'll see. We'll see where the next hour or so takes us. So, as always, get your comments in, get your questions in. Let us know how you're doing in the chat. But yeah, we're going to start, I think, John, with the One Championship Grand Prix. So, here is the card, the new card. They have just announced yesterday. Same old card, apart from Ritu Phogat back in, and she's going to fight Mengbo again. And Grace Cleveland, who was briefly in the tournament, the Thai kitten, she's been bumped out, and she's going to fight the winner of Being the Win or Jenilyn Olsen at Battleground 3, which airs in a couple of weeks. And then we've also got Mei Yamaguchi fighting Julie Mizababa, who also was briefly in the Grand Prix and was going to fight Mengbo. John, it's a bit of a mess, isn't it? But are you just glad that it's on?
Well, is it on?
Yeah.
that's
Don't
the,
curse
that's the
it. Come
question,
on.
right? That's the question, right? We still have a few weeks left, so we need to be optimistic, right? Because we've been hit with back to back to back to back to back, cancellations of this card, and I feel like this is one of the biggest, all female cards we have seen in the past. I don't even know how many years, right? With the talent level that they have, and but I just hope, man. I'm just hoping that it goes through. And I'm actually happy that Ritu is back in there in her original spot. So we actually have the original Grand Prix, right? This is the original lineup for the Grand Prix. These 8 women. Am I correct?
I think you're correct. I'm doing some mental mathematics right now, but I do think this is what we originally got promised back in May or April, whenever it was. So we've come full circle. But
You you know who benefits from that time, those cancellations the most is Ritu. She got to compete what, twice? Was it twice? Yeah,
yep,
twice in that time. And the rest of her, you know, her future opponents, so to say, or other participants in the tournament, they've just been sitting around training. So Ritu getting that like in cage experience is going to be so helpful for her, I think, heading into this fight against Meng Bo, because Meng Bo, even though she's still the favorite, I think Ritu, grew so much in the last 6 to 8 months to where it's going to be a completely different fight. I'm still picking Bo to win, but still, what I mean, I'm thinking Ritu's gonna be in there to scrap now. She's improved. I don't want to say tremendously, but she's better. She's a better fighter now than she was earlier this year.
yeah, she looked very good against Lin He Quinn, I thought, and arguably she could have got the decision against B. When I do believe that B won that fight. I know a lot of Ritu's fans don't agree with me, and Angela Lee thought Ritu won. A lot of mixed opinion on that fight. So arguably Ritu could have had two victories. So yeah, like you say, John, that's a very good point. Ritu's going to be a lot fresher than the other girls here. I think she's going to be a lot more kind of battle ready maybe not fresher, but she's going to be sharpened, and that could play a big factor. We'll see how it goes. Mengbo is going to be a tough opponent for her for sure. Very tough opponent. I'm just glad we're getting this Grand Prix now, finally. A couple of comments here. Tan Nguyen is asking, is the event in America or Singapore? It is in Singapore, Tan. And I don't know if there's going to be fans. I was trying to find out if they're going to have some fans in attendance, some live fans. They did want to have live fans for Battleground a couple of weeks ago. 3 weeks, was it? So they may have fans there. They're going to have a lead card, they call it, though. Prelims, as the rest of the world calls it. We'll get into that in a minute. Matthew Neville here saying, all right, JHK, I really hope you start doing your show again during the week. Will you be back with the post-fight live chat, John?
I'm kind of putting that in the back burner for a little bit because I'm just too busy doing all these other things, and at the laundry list of things I have to do, the live chat is probably at the bottom of it. So I have to kind of prioritize everything that I'm doing. But when I do get some time and get some guests lined up, I will do it again. But tune into this. We're doing it right now. Me and Nick, we're doing the podcast. It's basically a live chat, right? It's the same exact thing, except for it's me and Nick, right? So let's if you got some questions right now, just ask them right now, man. I don't know if you watch the show because of me or my guest, but either way, ask away.
Well, sad to hear it's not going to be on this week, but hopefully it'll be back soon. I do love the shows. I love watching and sending some comments in. I'm sure a lot of people do. But yeah, as John says, we are live now. If you have anything you want to ask, get into it in the comments. Tan also saying here, Singapore has dealt with COVID very well, one of the safest places on earth. Yes, I'm getting my fingers crossed again, my hopes raised, John, that perhaps the fifth time of asking, the travel bubble may open between Hong Kong and Singapore, the green lane, as they call it, and I might be able to fly to Singapore, have myself a little holiday, have myself a little one championship action. We'll see. I don't think it will happen before September 3rd, though, so I will be watching it here in my new flat in Hong Kong. People expect shenanigans from fight promoters, says WMMA scene now. I think this was a follow-up to his comment. One's reasoning behind putting Ritu back in was lame. Should have just put her back in and go, yeah, we did it, so what? Yeah, I was thinking about that, John, because she won, she beat Lynn, and then there was, it seemed kind of staged, didn't it? They shoved the camera in front of her. I think they put it on social media and said, like, oh, Ritu wants back in the Grand Prix. Let's see what happens. As soon as I saw that, I thought, she's going back in, isn't she? They definitely want her in there. Do you think they even needed to do that? Should they have just said, we're in charge, we can do what we want?
Yeah. I don't understand. What was the reasoning that she earned herself back into the tournament?
Yeah, they kind of seems like they gave her this fight to say, go and beat Lynn, and then we'll put you back in. And it's fair enough.
Yeah, well, it doesn't make sense because B Nguyen beat her, right? And you don't put her in the tournament, and then she goes and wins another fight, and then and if you compare the level of competition, I would think B Nguyen would be a higher level of competition, right? And then you put her back in. It doesn't make sense, but who cares? Like the WMMA was saying, like, we did it. This is the people that we won in the tournament. She lost the fight, but then she won, so she's back in. There's nothing really we can do about it. I'm just wondering what happened to Grace Cleveland. Like, she was announced to be in the tournament, and then all of a sudden,
2 weeks ago, wasn't it?
yeah, all of a sudden now she's the alternate. So I guess she's still in the tournament just as the alternate. So maybe it wasn't a lie about Grace Cleveland being in the Atomweight Grand Prix, is because she is the alternate. So this week I'll be speaking with Grace Cleveland for SCMP MMA, and we will talk about that in the interview of what exactly happened, what went down. Was she the alternate the whole time, or was she not? Was she lined up to face Meng Bo? We'll find out, right, Nick? That's what our job is to do.
Yes, I've got Itsuki Hirata on Wednesday and Elise Anderson, and I'm sure me and John will be speaking to all of these women who are in this card and in this Grand Prix over the next couple of weeks. I mean, I was the one who released that news about Grace being in the Grand Prix, and she was definitely in the Grand Prix, not as an alternate. She was gonna fight Meng Bo. So she has been. I've seen the card. They released a graphic with her matched up with Meng. So she was definitely in that first round. She got bumped out again for Ritu. I kind of feel for Meng Bo the most here. You know, she's had to prepare for three different opponents over the last few months, and what's that like, John? You know, they're very different, aren't they? Like Ritu, you know, you're up against a wrestling monster. Uh, Grace and Elise and Grace and Julie Mizababa. I don't know too much about their styles. You know a little bit more about Grace than me. So
Yeah.
yeah, what's it like just having to prepare for different styles like that?
It's probably difficult if you are preparing for one particular opponent, but I feel like Meng Bo, she doesn't train that way. I feel like she's just training and focusing on herself. And she kind of understands whatever opponent is going to bring, but not like tailoring her training camp around, a Ritu or a Grace Cleveland, because Grace Cleveland was her opponent for like 2 weeks, right? So I don't know, man. She's been in training camp for so long. It's hard to say like what is she doing right now? You know what I mean? Like these fights were supposed to happen earlier this year. Months and months and months have passed. It's hard to say what kind of fighter we're going to get. Could some of these fighters be overtrained? That's a big question coming into this, is who could be overtrained? Who is coming in with injuries because they just trained for just too long consecutively? Um, I'm interested to see how those things play out in these matchups. But for Meng Bo getting switched up back and forth, it's kind of messed up, man. If you're Meng Bo, you'd be kind of pissed off, right? Just like, can we figure
Yeah,
this out or not?
I'd be a little pissed off. I imagine Mengbo's confident she's gonna win either way, so she's probably got that mentality of a
Mm-hmm.
champion, and I'm sure she'll deal with it fine. Ritu, for me, do you feel there's an element, John, that they just wanted to get her back in at all costs because of her fan base in India? And India is obviously an important market for them, a growing market. And do you think maybe there was some pressure put on them by what are they called? Our old friends, the copyright strikers, Star TV or whatever they're called. Uh, Maybe they were leaning on one a little bit, say, hey, well, we paid you all this money for these broadcast rights, but our girl isn't in this Grand Prix. Get her back in there. Maybe that played a part. I don't want
I
to make assumptions.
I think that it all plays a part. You got Denise, she's representing the Philippines. You got Ham, Korea. You got Stamp, Thailand. You got Mengbo, China. You got Hirata, Japan, and you got Alana. I believe she's from the Ukraine, and then Elise Anderson's USA. Um, and then you got Ritu. You throw in another Asian country, India. For the people that are geographically impaired, India is part of Asia. They are Asian people. So that's another country. You need to add that, I guess. Even if you put in Bina Nguyen, she's representing Vietnam, right? She can. And she has, Vietnamese background. Grace Cleveland, she's part Thai, I believe, right? So, but yeah, India is a market that you want, and any way to put them on the map, you got to do it, right? And especially in this tournament, and hopefully it does garner the attention of the world. You know what I mean? Because if you're just overlooking this tournament and not thinking about the type of fighters that are entering it, just by looking at their record, because some of their records, they seem like they're kind of green, but these are high level atom weights, man, and they will beat the shit out of you. So watch these girls go at it. It's gonna be fun.
WMMA scene now saying, I was just thinking, where has the post fight podcast been? I was thinking the same. It's time to get the band back together. Hopefully,
For
get it
real.
going a little bit more regular now, especially that One Championship is going to be doing live shows a lot more regularly. Gives me an excuse to do more content themed around them. And we will be covering all of the media day for Empower. So I imagine at the end of this month, we're going to have the God, what is it? One and media days, 1 and 2. We'll see. Anyway, Migs in the chat here saying justice for B Nguyen. Yeah, we'll get into her in a minute, John. I wanted to ask you about her. And Tan Nguyen says Ritu got Chatri's privilege. What is the version of Dana White privilege with Chatri? We got to come up with a name for it. You know,
It's
I
hard
can't
to
think that.
it's hard to
Yeah.
beat that, man. Dana White privilege is a pretty good terminology right there. So
Yeah. Well,
um
a lot of people have long accused Chatri of having his favorites, and yeah, I guess there does seem sometimes to be preferable treatment for some fighters, but I feel that happens in a lot of promotions, if not every promotion. Am I
yeah,
being fair there?
it happens in every level of society. You know, of course there are going to be certain people you get along with a lot easier than others, right? And business is easier to do when you have a good relationship with the people you're doing business with, right? So of course there's going to be favorites and people that you don't get along with, and it's just part of the world, man. You could, there's people that you probably work with right now at your job that you don't get along with, and there's people that you get along with.
How
And do you
dare you?
consider them your favorites? I have no idea. So
I get along with everyone in the wonderful South China Morning Post.
yes, he
I
had to
do
say
not.
that. He was paid for that endorsement.
Yeah. Okay. Singapore has 73% vaccination rate right now. Damn impressive, says Mix. Yeah, Hong Kong creeping up to about 50, I think, with everyone with double doses. So the green lane, the travel bubble might actually happen if we can get those numbers up. I would love to go and watch some One Championship action. Tan Nguyen has Stamp Fairtex winning the whole thing. Let us know who you all think is going to win in the comments, and I'll ask John for his pick in a minute. Misa Barber, Cleveland, and Mengbo all getting messed around, says WMMA scene now. Yeah, it can't be good. Gordon Liu says, I'm glad to see Ritu back in the tournament. I thought Grace Cleveland made no sense. She has no fights in one and is not very accomplished. Migs saying Chatri's privilege equals evolve entitlement. That's good. I like that. Just putting it out there. I'll try and come up with a better name for it. But I like evolve entitlement for now. So I was gonna let's talk about B Nguyen. But first, John, have you changed your pick on the whole tournament? I don't know if I asked you before, but given the new lineup with Ritu back in, do you have a change? What do you think?
I don't even know if I made a pick because it's been
Yeah.
so long. Like I don't
Yeah, it's
remember.
been like nearly a year.
Yeah, and I don't even I just have terrible memory. But I think looking at the bracket right now, and I'm just zooming in and just looking at these faces, I'm saying whoever wins between Denise Zamboanga and Seo Hee Ham is gonna win the tournament, I think.
I agree 100% with you. And for me, yeah, it's definitely that fight. Denise, number one contender, essentially. She's number one ranked in the atomweight division. Ham is this brilliant veteran coming in with the huge reputation. It's just the size
Mm-hmm.
thing. That's for me the interesting. Is Ham going to be too small here
Yeah.
for one championships division? Because essentially it's a strawweight division, given the way one does weight. And we saw Ham struggle at strawweight in the UFC, right? So
I
it's
heard she's putting on size though, like
yeah.
size and strength. That's a big focus for her the last year. So we'll see, if that's gonna be a factor. But yeah, like the dark horse also in this tournament, I think, is going to be uh Mengbo. I think Mengbo is the one that is not being talked about too much, and I think she will probably be one of those fighters that people overlook. And she did miss weight, so that could be a factor too. You know what I mean? Like, is she having struggles making weight for this atom weight tournament? Because what if someone misses weight and misses hydration? Are they kicked out the tournament? That's another question, right? How do they deal with that? Do the alternates come in right away? Are the alternates going to be at the shows and kind of weigh in and be the backup? I wonder how they're going to handle all of that situation if that comes up. in the future. But yeah, um, Bangbo, that's I see her as one of the people that's probably gonna be the dark horse, and Anderson, man, I think she's probably the least known out of all of them, right?
Yeah, she could be a dark horse. I've never seen her fight. I've only seen clips of highlights. I think she had a flying armbar finish, flying triangle. I can't remember. Uh,
She has a good
yeah,
team. I know that.
yeah, for sure. I was speaking to her, sorry, Wednesday. So maybe we can get a little more information on how it's all been going for her. But she's definitely been. I mean, she was working as a nurse and also training, so she had like incredible drive through this pandemic. You don't want to mess with people who've got that kind of crazy focus to save lives while also training to be in a world caliber Grand Prix. Fantastic stuff. Can't wait to see her debut. As you said, WWMA scene now. I've butchered that. WMMA scene now says Ham has been doing a ton of strength and conditioning work, like you hinted, John. Galactus asking a couple of questions about Gary Tonin and the Danaher Death Squad. Maybe we can get into that in a minute. I just wanted to ask you quickly about these two fights. Do you see them as alternate fights, John? At the bottom of the lead card, as they call it, May Yamaguchi against Julie, and the winner of B and Jenilyn against Ty Kitten, Grace Cleveland. Are you expecting those to be the unofficial alternate fights?
Aren't they official? It says right down the bottom.
Does it?
World Grand Prix alternate bout.
What an idiot! I can't even see.
It's so small, right? It's very small
Yeah.
print right there.
Oh
Yeah, it
God.
says World Grand Prix alternate bout. So I guess that's why it will be the
I am a
Is this the
dumbass. All right.
prelims?
Yeah.
Yeah. These are the what do they call it? The lead
Lead card.
the lead card. Okay, the lead card, right? So you got 3 fights on the lead card, which is Jackie Boonton and Daniela Lopez, and then the 2 other fights. Yeah, I think those are good alternate fights. I feel like at least one of these women that win this fight, win their fight, is going to be in the tournament. They're going to end up replacing somebody. Because in the tournaments, these atomweight tournaments, these Grand Prix, there's always an alternate that comes in and does really well. So I think it's a big question mark with Mei Yamaguchi. We haven't seen her for so long, and she's fighting Julie Menza Barba, right? And what is Julie Menza-Barba's record? She's 8-2. I've never seen her fight. I have no idea, like. But
Yeah, I've got no clue.
Yeah, but she does have mostly knockouts if she does finish her opponents. A lot of decisions, but mostly knockouts in her finishes, and she's lost twice. Looks like both by decision. And one thing about Mei
8-2-1.
Yamaguchi is that she's tough and she knows how to win. And she does have a lot of decision wins. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. I'm more interested to see what Julie can do because we haven't seen her fight yet. And the other fight, Grace Cleveland, I think she's going to fight B Nguyen just because I have a dark feeling in my mind that B Nguyen won the fight against Jenilyn Alsim.
We saw B. Yeah, she seemed very chill on. Is it Instagram? She posted a video right after the fight. She didn't have a scratch on her face. She said, I can't tell you the result, guys. But that's a big but. I will say, wouldn't she be in camp right now if she was going to fight Grace Cleveland? And maybe she's doing this to throw people off, but she's not. Doesn't seem to be from her social media, like in camp. Maybe she is. I don't know. B is very, very clever, and I know she's good at playing the fans and doing these kind of tricks on social media. So she might be throwing us off the scent. I don't know.
I think that's what's happening. You're right. It doesn't take a Sherlock Holmes to figure it out, right? you could post whatever you want on social media, right? It's all up to you to determine if that is what's really going on or not. You know what I mean? It's just
yeah.
You just like yourself, Nick. Like you're not a big social media guy, so if you did post something on social media, does that mean that's everything that you're doing in your life? No, man, you have so much going on outside of this. So yeah,
I don't post on social media because I have nothing interesting to say or show. You know.
well, the thing is, like, like most people don't have nothing interesting to say or show. They're just showing like part
Yeah.
of their life, right? So, oh, I ate
But they
something today.
pretend it's interesting. Yeah.
Exactly, that's the key. Like, you make it interesting for the people that
I
are
just know it's
following
not
you.
interesting. If I have something interesting, I'll put it up there. Don't you worry.
Yeah,
But
like,
I've been stuck in Hong Kong for a year and a half, or I can't even remember now how long it's been. My life is the same every day, and there's nothing interesting about it. Uh, WMMA thing now says girls go on vacation and will be posting photos from the trip a year later, acting like E again. Yeah, that might be it. Because B is posting a bunch of pics of her, like it looks like she's on vacation or something like that. So she might just be throwing us off the scent on purpose, or she might just be doing what a lot of people do and just showing pictures from old trips. Gordon picking Shohei Ham to win it all. She just seems unstoppable now. She's back at atomweight. I think being a mature vet, she will have her weight hydration handled or ham delay. Indeed. So you think it's going to be B against Grace? It'd be interesting if it is because B could end up getting in the Grand Prix after all, and she seemed to have moved on from it a little bit when I spoke to her before she flew out. You can see that interview on SCMP MMA. She said, I don't really care about the Grand Prix now. I'm more interested about, I'm staying active. I'm getting fights. I'm getting wins while these other girls have not even fought for nearly a year or whatever. So, yeah, she could come into that Grand Prix really battle ready and slide into a semi-final or something like that, couldn't she, John?
she can. Any of these girls can. It's almost better to be the alternate than it is to be actually in the tournament, because there's not too much pressure, right? It's just like, let's win this fight and then wait until somebody, cannot continue in this tournament and then slide in, right? So I don't know. Mei Yamaguchi might be the dark horse, right? She might win. She might beat Julie, and then all of a sudden, she's in there in the finals. You never know, right? You never
Yeah.
know.
We saw what happened with the lightweight Grand Prix. It was a disaster by all
Yeah.
accounts. Won by the champion. A tournament designed to find a challenger for the champion was won by the champion.
That is so funny, right? Why did they do that? Why did you just put somebody else in there? I, it, I don't think they had alternate bouts, right, for the lightweight Grand Prix. That was a problem too.
No, they just put Eddie in after Eddie lost
Yeah, so they
because
didn't
the
really have
semi-finals
alternates.
fell apart. Yeah, so they made Eddie v Edward a semi-final, and then I think it was just they wanted to get Eddie onto the Tokyo card, the big Century card, and then when Eddie got injured, they thought, we're on TNT. We've got like an hour on TNT. We need to have a big fight that we can sell this show on for TNT and get good rating. And obviously Christian Lee, like we saw with his fight against Tim Nastyukin, he's a little bit of a ratings draw in that US market, it seems. So Christian Lee rode to the rescue and beat Dougie. Maybe it was a good idea after all. Other than that, Jackie Boonton has been added to this card. She is back. Another Muay Thai bout against Daniela Lopez at strawweight. And then we have that Anissa Mexen will be making her debut. Another opponent change for her, Christina Morales, but that was also announced a couple of weeks ago. And then Zhang Jingnan against Michelle Nicolini for the strawweight MMA title in the main event. Briefly, John, what are you looking forward to out of those three fights? Are they being overshadowed a little bit, especially that main event, or what?
Of course, they're being overshadowed because the GP has been anticipated for so long that that's what most people are going to be talking about. So I like the card, and I hope the card stays exactly the same as it is right now, heading into September 3rd. Let's hope for the best and prepare ourselves for the worst. But yeah, the Nicole, what is it? Michelle Nicolini. I'm interested to see what she can do against Jing Nan. It's just Michelle, man. She's like she's so high level on the ground that if she puts Jing Nan on the ground, can she get back up? Will she be strong enough? Will she have the technique to get back up? Because we seen her take Angela Lee to the ground, and Angela Lee was having some major issues, right, against Nicolini. I wonder if Jinnan has that ground game to kind of defend well against Nicolini, because guess who submitted Jinnan? Angela Lee did. So, you do that funky MMA math, and you would figure, like, if they go to the ground, Michelle Nicolini's going to wrap that neck up, and she's going to be the new champion. Um, and that'll make another Brazilian champion, which I
which
don't
they
know if
don't
they're going to
want.
be happy about. You know what I mean?
Yes, I was going to say, obviously, Michelle beat Angela Lee in Kuala Lumpur. I was there, watched that fight, and Angela was frustrated for most of 3 rounds. I think she was probably on top the third round, but for the first 2 rounds, Michelle smothered her like a wet blanket. So, and you got to think Angela's probably a little bit stronger than Jingnan, especially when Angela's at strawweight. So, yeah, I don't think that one's a lock for the Panda. But that's cool because I like to see some competition in the strawweight division. There hasn't really been much outside of the Angela and Zhang Jingnan fight. I know Zhang fought, oh God, Tiffany Teo, right? Yes, in Singapore, Enter the Matrix. So always good to see some more challenges in that division. I wish they would bulk it up a little bit more. I guess they've had to focus on the atomweight division this year, but yeah, it'd be good to see them prioritize that division as well. I know some of the fighters think the same as me. Nicolini is probably better than Lee, says WMMAC now once it gets to the ground, but she lacks Angela's takedown skills to get Zhang down. There we go. Let us know how the rest of you feel that fight will go. Otherwise, yes, fingers crossed this fight, this card doesn't fall apart. Sorry, but I'm not hopeful because John, every single event that one has put on since the pandemic, there have been a couple of, at least one or two, haven't they? Fights have fallen through. You've gotta think they might have some other fighters flying in case, right? They might still tape some fights. I don't know. I haven't got an official word on that, but would you
Well,
expect they've got some backup plans?
well, I think the alternate bouts, the reason why they lined them up on the lead was that the lead card is just in case they do need to slide someone up. Like, let's say, you know, hopefully this doesn't happen, but let's say Meng Bo can't get into Singapore, then they'll have Grace Cleveland or B Nguyen step up and face Ritu, right? Maybe that's what they want. They want Ritu to face B Nguyen in the rematch because it was so controversial that will be one of the fights. That those things can happen, right? And I think that's the backup plan for one championship. If it doesn't stay intact, they're gonna slide somebody in, and then maybe they'll bring in somebody last minute to fill one of the alternate bouts too. You know what I mean? They have people lined up, right? So people need to be ready. Atom weights need to be ready to slide in at any moment. So if you're preparing your training camp for one particular fighter, it might not be so great for you to do that because you never know when it's going to switch up in the last moment. So, but at the same time, that's what makes it exciting, right? For a fan, we just need to have the event happen. You know what I mean? If there's fighters that drop off, they drop off, man. It's just, it's just part of the game. But we need to have Empower on September 3rd. I hope we're doing a fight companion thing. I think we will, right?
Oh,
Hopefully.
absolutely.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's going to be fun, man. It's going to be an interesting night of fights, and also Anissa Mexen. She is one of the best in the world. I've never seen her fight. So, I'm ready to see what she can do against her opponent. And then you got Jackie Boonton returning. She's undefeated in the one championship circle. I feel like she's gonna end up fighting for the title in 2022 if she keeps winning, man. Don't you think so?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they don't. They need to make a title,
That's what I'm
basically.
saying. Why would you
Yeah,
not want her? You know, like she'd be perfect for it.
yeah. I don't know what's going on there. I really don't. Uh, I feel like they can't multitask in a way. You know, they've got to focus on this Grand Prix,
Hmm.
um, and they're probably trying to do a Grand Prix for a strawweight title, something like that. So they need a bit of time to maybe scout and find some new people to bring in for that. I mean, if I was them, I'd just do Jackie. That's the problem. Who would you put Jackie against for the title? She'd already beat Wonder Girl. I'm not sure who else really in that division they could bill as a potential title competitor. I feel they'd have to do a Grand Prix and give it a bit of pizzazz. And they also want to do a Grand Prix with Jackie's teammate. The kickboxing, and Anissa was being lined up for her. So we'll see. We'll see. One Grand Prix at a time, unless it's DJ and Eddie and they do two at the same time. So, uh, well, that about does it for the one chat. WMMAC now says, I'll be watching your fight companion. Was going to do my own, but couldn't get a day off work. Well, yes, please join us. Please say hello. We love everyone joining us. It was really fun last Friday with Leon and Tom Taylor. We'll be doing one for Battleground 3, I think, as well. Always a bit of fun. Hey, we are right on the verge of 20,000 subscribers. So if you're watching now and you don't subscribe, please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Send us over 20,000. That was a goal that John and I set for 2021 to hit 20,000 subscribers. And it's, what is it, August 17th. So we're well ahead of schedule. I think we'll be tipping over that soon. And you know what, John? That final push has come from one championship being back in action. You know, it shows how much of a fan base we have with one championship fans, especially Ongla, and we picked up a bunch of new subscribers from Battleground too. So obviously, I think a lot of Filipino fans who were tuning in for Edward. So hopefully, yeah, we can get a few more from Battleground 3. Galactus here saying, all I really see in 1FC are true warriors. I haven't, are there any similar to O'Malley that are just prefer to linger in the lowest level possible? Yeah, what do you think, John? Maybe we could talk about O'Malley.
Okay. Oh, I got my take on that. You know what I mean? Well, you guys got to think. Yes, there are guys out there and women out there that are true fighters that will fight anybody, any weight class, on short notice, on late notice, on 8 weeks notice, 15-month notice. It doesn't matter. But at the end of the day, this is their career, right? And when you look at the career of a fighter, what do you want to have when it's all said and done? You want to have a comfortable life that you could live and retire, and the amount of money that you could retire from and not really have to work for the rest of your life once you hang up the gloves. That's what you want at the end of your career. And if you look at other jobs, that's what other jobs, working at companies for 20, 25 years, at the end result, you get your retirement check, your monthly stipend, whatever, right? When you look at that, you got to use that mentality also for fighting, because you're not going to fight for 25 years. You're not going to fight for 20 years. Most fighters' careers barely last 10 years total. You know what I mean? Not even just in the UFC, just total, right? So when Sean O'Malley comes out and says, I'm getting paid this much, and this is who I want to fight for this much money, he's smart, man. He's very intelligent for saying that. Why would you fight guys that are more dangerous, higher ranked? They're getting paid six figures to fight you, but you're getting paid half that to fight them. Why would you do that? Why wouldn't you just take the same amount of money and go fight somebody that is lower in the ranks or someone similar ranking to you and earn so-called a easier paycheck, right? Less dangerous, maybe not as skilled as you, and you would be the favorite to go in there and beat this guy. Why would you why would you take, you know, why would you risk your life, because that's what they're basically doing every time out there, to fight someone that's more dangerous for lesser money? To me, it's like Sean O'Malley, he's a businessman. He understands the economics of this, and he understands that it doesn't last forever. And O'Malley, if you've seen him, he's not like a BJ Penn, you know what I mean, where a guy gets punched 10, 30 times and you don't really see a scratch on his face. Sean O'Malley seems like his body is not as, I don't know how to describe it, man. It's not as, I don't want to say tough, but it's not as put together as some other guys. You know what I mean? Some other guys, they never get injured. O'Malley seems like he's always has bumps and bruises from a fight, even if he knocked the guy out, right? So you guys got to put all that into the factor, into the equation, and look past like he's a fighter, he should fight anybody. Look past that and look at what they have to go through and what is the end result of their career. Okay, if you don't do that, then you don't care about the fighters, dude. Like, you just care about seeing blood and guts and knockouts and submissions. Come on. You guys got to look past that. You guys got to look at the guys as and the girls as human beings. And if these promotions are not paying them more, I think more Sean O'Malley should stand up and say, like, hey, I'm not going to fight these guys unless you pay me what these guys are making to fight them, or pay me at least more, or pay me my worth. Because why would you take pennies when you can make dimes? You know what I mean? Like, or dollars. Like, what's the point of that? Like, that's why I like fighters that are not going to the UFC and fighting for other promotions, because the other promotion is going to pay them double what the UFC is going to pay them. And at the end of the day, that fighter, he might not have like the UFC championship belt, but that guy is going to have a home. He's going to have a car. He's going to have money in the bank. He's going to be able to live his life outside of fighting comfortably. And I think at the end of the day, that's what you should be striving for. Or at least half of your life, you should be striving for that. You know what I mean? And every fighter has different reasons for competing, but
he already has a bit of money as well, right? So maybe that factors in. He said, I don't need to bow down to the UFC. I've got a successful social media presence. He has a big YouTube channel, doesn't he?
yes.
So he's a streamer. He probably doesn't need to take every fight for pennies. I think
Yeah.
that plays into it. Ramsey's though saying, how would you know if you're the best in the world if you're not striving for that? You don't think he might regret it in the future?
It's not
Striving for
about
gold.
knowing like if you're the best in the world. He wants to be paid to fight the best in the world. A good sum, right? And that's what it's about. Being the best in the world sometimes is not what drives these fighters. If you notice nowadays, highlights are more important than winning fights, right? Like, explain Nate Diaz. Like, he's won one fight in the past how many years, and that was to Connor, and he's still living off that. Where there's other guys that have beaten like 4 of the top 10 guys in the world, 5 of the top 10 guys in the world, and we still don't know who they are, and they still get paid less than Nate Diaz. So it's not about sometimes it's not about that. It's not about, I'm going to be the best in the world. It's about, let's get this money, right? Because I think a lot of the mentality has shifted for a lot of fighters.
Indeed. Galactus says, I understand the logic, but as a fighter, he should try and beat better and better fighters. That's literally the whole point of being a professional competitor. Good for him. I'm not a fan of can crushers.
But you
He
think
should.
everybody in the UFC is a can? Then that's not a good mentality, dude. Because there's a lot of guys that were at the bottom tier UFC, and then they cans the whole time, and then they built themselves up. Like, what's a can? Like, if Sean O'Malley was out there in some obscure promotion just knocking out everybody and getting paid ridiculous amounts of money, I still would even hate that. I'd be like, go get your money, dude. And there's guys that want to fight you, do it. Go do your thing, man. Like, at the end of the day, like these dudes, one thing that I like about Sean O'Malley is uh he doesn't give a fuck about what people are talking about. And that is impressive because a lot of people let the outside world get into their head. And yeah, and can crushing, there's a lot of guys that did it. A lot of guys that did it leading up to the UFC. I don't think there's a bunch of cans in the UFC though.
Galactus also saying he should at least try and find out what his best is, and that Nate and Nick have tested themselves against the best in the world at various weights, though.
Yes, and they've been paid to do it. That's the difference. There's a difference, right? They've been paid to do it.
Yeah,
and that's the point of Sean O'Malley. You know what I mean?
Well, it's an interesting debate.
It is. Definitely. It is a good debate. You could debate it forever. But
he said he wants Frankie Edgar, or is that what they're trying to line him up, but they're not paying him enough?
Exactly. Okay. I think that's what's going on right now. Is Frankie Edgar wants to fight him in New York, and then on top of that, he makes a great point about New York. New York takes too much tax from their paychecks, man. I think that plays a huge factor in money. You know what I mean? Money's gonna always be part of the issue, right? So if like Texas, I think they have really low income tax. So everybody loves fighting in Texas, right? Everybody loves going to Texas. But when you talk about like California or New York, their income taxes are through the roof. So nobody really wants to fight there. Think about it. Even if you're making like 50K to fight, if they're taking like 30% of that just from tax, or 40, that's a crazy amount of money, right? To lose just because you fought at this location. And I hate it, man. I hate taxes, man.
Yeah. Come to Hong Kong, it's 10%, something like that. Very low.
Hey, Korea's like, if you're freelance, it's 3.3%.
Oh shit. All right, going to Korea. All right.
Yeah, but anyways, yeah, like Sean O'Malley, do your thing, man. He's still young too, so it's not like he's like 30, 33 or 34, 35 or something like that talking like this. No, he's the guy is 20 something years old. He's in the mid 20s. He's still got a lot of time to develop, and he has a huge following, man. So I don't think he really cares.
All right, there were a couple other questions a bit earlier. I'll just ask you quickly. We can talk about how do you guys think Michelle Watterson stacks up against the girls in the atomweight Grand Prix? She's a former atomweight world champ with Invicta. I'd love to see her drop and go to 1. I think Michelle would be that was Gordon Liu. Sorry. I also agree. I think Michelle would be a good fit in 1 championship.
I think she'd be just as a big impact as Ham. I feel like that's the type of level of skill set she brings. Especially she's been fighting at strawweight for so long that her body is much bigger and probably more adaptable to the division, right? Because since atomweight is really 115 for 1 championship, I think she would make a instant impact. I think there's a lot of fun fights. Zamboanga would be a fun fight. Ham, definitely. Stamp, man, there's so many. B Nguyen is, I believe, they're pretty good friends, so they probably won't fight each other. But Hirata versus Michelle Watterson, I could see Michelle Watterson coming in and becoming the champion. Imagine like Michelle Watterson gets signed. You got her, you got Ham, you got Angela Lee, who are and Meng Bo, right? Which they would be kind of like so-called veterans of the division, and then you got the up and comers like Zamboanga and Stamp and Hirata and Ritu and even Elise Anderson. That's a pretty crazy division, right? If you add Michelle Watterson, man. But I don't think she's leaving the UFC anytime soon.
All right, and Matthew Neville asking if 1 championship has the best 135-pound division in all of MMA. So I guess that's their. Is that their bantamweight? What? I'm doing the 1 math. What are we comparing to?
I don't know. I don't think one championship has the best 135. The UFC has the best 135-pound division, but worldwide, if you stack up like all the divisions, like one championship, Ryzen, Bellator, and the UFC, I think bantamweight arguably is the best division in the world right now. Just competitively, it just it's pretty insane.
Oh, yeah, I forgot. I think it was Galactus asking a little bit earlier about A, do we have any news on Gary Tonin fighting? And B, do we know? Yeah, here we go. Any word on when, if Tonin will be fighting again? And do you guys know anything about Danaher Death Squad fracturing? Yeah, well, I only know what I saw in, I think it was Danaher himself posted an Instagram lengthy post about why
Mm,
they broke up, so I don't know any more than that. But he spelled it out pretty clearly, didn't he, John? That guys just weren't getting along. Essentially, there was too much dissension in the ranks. People wanted different things, and maybe the move to Puerto Rico didn't suit everyone.
yeah,
Maybe that's
well,
affecting Gary's title fight. I don't think so. I think they were just letting Tanlay recover from the broken hand, right? And I expect that to happen before the end of this year. That title fight. You spoke to Tan, didn't you, recently?
yeah, he has finger issues, like you mentioned. I don't know with the Danaher Death Squad. Um, I think maybe Danaher he controlled them as long as he could because there's interesting egos, right? There's interesting characters in that whole squad, and yeah, once you grow to a certain level, of course you want to kind of separate yourself. And I think that's maybe what had happened. But I have no idea, man. There's tons of YouTube videos of speculations of why these guys broke up. But what can you do, man? They're gonna go their ways and trade. What is it? Blaze their own trail or whatever you want to call it. And at the end of the day, they all gotta pay respect to Danaher because he's the man. He's the mastermind.
Yeah, it's Gordon Ryan still supposed to fight an MMA Galactus as well. I mean, well, he has this stomach issue, doesn't he? So I don't even think he's competing in grappling. Am
Yeah.
I wrong?
I heard that he was never really committed to fighting MMA. It's just he wanted to do some grappling for one championship, and then eventually, if he decides if he does fight MMA, it will be for one championship. So,
But
but
he's not even going to grapple Shinya now,
no,
right? That was
no,
set for next month, but it's
no.
off the table.
Yeah, I don't think he's doing that. I think, yeah, from what I remember, he is just gonna take care of some medical issues, like you said, his stomach problems or something. And I wonder what that stems from. You know what I mean? Like that's another expose that YouTubers are get into. Why is more Gordon Ryan not competing? What stomach issues does he have? Does it come from the stress of leaving Danaher Death Squad? You can make up all kinds of stuff right there.
Yeah, indeed. All right. So, any other questions? Please get them in. Otherwise, could quickly talk. What was it? Nate and Dustin going back and forth. Jesus, let me find it here. Connor and Usman as well. What do
Oh
you think?
god.
Do you really care, John? I mean, what's
Yeah, I don't know. It's just something that's part of what's going on. What's part of the sport, right? Is just people going back and forth on social media. Connor, he has nothing else better to do, right? He's just sitting around with the cast on. So I'm pretty sure after he gets his workout in and visits the doctor and everything, what else does he have to do? Watch TV, and then you pick up your phone and you're scrolling down and next thing you know you're tweeting out some stuff, right? Or you getting stuff off your chest. Maybe he's drinking a little bit of proper 12 or proper 19 or something. And yeah, and that's what happens. So what is it?
Yeah, I think McGregor said he's gonna walk into a title shot as soon as he comes back, and He took a little jab at Usman as well. Uh, I'm a little tired of it all, you know.
It's just, it's just it's just something that's just going to continue happening while he's in his recovery, right? So we just go along with it. That's what it is. It's just let the guy sitting on top of the glass house throw stones continuously and continuously and continuously until he comes back, until he's ready to fight, until he's back in training. And but that's not going to be for so long, right?
He's talking about this year, which I think is ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't see that happening at all. I don't think that's going to happen. um if he comes back, great. If he doesn't, great. we don't we don't need to have Connor come back, right? A lot of people think we need to have him fighting. We don't need to. Of course, watching him fight is incredible, and watching what he does is entertaining. But we have so many other great fighters now that that I don't know if they're never gonna be able to take his spot as like this icon or this superstar. But fighting wise, like just fighting, there's so many entertaining fighters out there now, and great champions there, that we don't if McGregor never came back, it wouldn't mean anything. It would just continue. The machine will roll forward.
Yeah, and it's just easy as well for Usman to sit there, and he doesn't really have to do much. He can talk about it. It gets his profile up a little bit, being involved in Connor, and there's not even ever probably going to be a fight between them. But being attached to Connor, we see what that does for people's names. Even not even just fighting them, just being in the conversation for fighting him. And it's he's very confident he'd beat Connor. I don't want to see Connor against Usman. Connor's got to win a fight in lightweight, as someone says here, Galactus. Yeah, Connor, he needs to win a fight as far as getting any real respect as a fighter, in my opinion. Chris said he needs to go, get up in the mountains, find some inner peace. Yes, I don't think Connor should be Billy walking straight to a title shot in his return, as he says here. But he says his recovery is going well. How soon will we see you fight again, champ? Okay, so now he's saying 2022. He's revised his return plan from 2021. He says, I'm improving rapidly, working with the best team money can buy. I'll be back in no time, loaded. Yeah, at least he's not trying to rush back by the end of this year. He says the leg will be more than equipped to kick. Yeah, I'm Billy walking straight to a title shot in my return, and it sickens the bums of this business, which is the real reason these constant disrespectful comments come my way. God bless them. Yeah, there we go. Connor needs to train with the team. Okay. Well, yeah, that does it. Gordon asking, hey, Nick, have you ever heard any rumblings about one bringing an event to Hong Kong? The Kumite was held in Hong Kong after all. No, they'll never come here. They'll go to Macau, which is just over the water, about half an hour or 45 minutes on a ferry. So that's the closest we'll ever get. I don't think they've got the infrastructure here to do it. And I don't think they've got the audience. They would want to have a good crowd if they did it. I'm just pretty sure it's not on the cards. I think there was also a storm where they fell foul of angry Chinese netizens, as a lot of companies and brands have done, by putting out a poll online saying, which countries would you like to see us come to next? And they listed Hong Kong as a country, which of course it is not a country. It's a special administrative region, an SAR. It's a city. And I think that caused a little bit of backlash for one, to the point they don't want to deal with the ramifications of that by coming to Hong Kong. Chris might know a little bit more in the chat. Usman would destroy Connor, says Matthew. Agreed. Galactus says, I hope Conor gets well soon and has another fight. It helps the other fighters, so I'm all for it regardless. Has one been to the USA? No, they have not. But they, like we said the other day, they've got the rule set approved in Ohio, was it? I can't remember. Denver?
Denver, yeah, Colorado.
Yeah, Colorado, sorry. So there's positive on that front. Yeah, I think that about does it today. We'll keep it short and sweet, an hour.
Exactly.
uh,
We'll be back.
we'll be back maybe Thursday or what it is Monday night in the US. So Wednesday night US, Thursday morning in Asia. Might be back with Mr. Chris. We'll see. Yeah, no fight companion this week because there's no one card, but there will be one next week. No live chat for John on Friday this week. So we'll see. Hopefully, yeah, Thursday maybe Thursday morning we can do something. We'll see. But John, what have you got coming up, if anything?
Like I said earlier, Grace Cleveland, and then I'm gonna try to get a couple bigger names from the UFC. We'll see what happens. You know what I mean? I don't want to. Nothing is in stone. Nothing is set in stone until it's all recorded. So I don't want to jinx it.
Well, we've also got Sasha Palatnikov fighting this week. Hong Kong's own Sasha.
That's right.
Back in the UFC. John interviewed him.
I did, and that will be released tomorrow. Sorry about that for everybody, especially Sasha. He's probably been waiting for a while, but we'll get that up tomorrow. And
and who knows if we get another Sasha win, maybe he'll jump on with us for the recap or something like that.
Yeah, go back and watch the interview with Dan Hardy and Rashad Evans. We got those on the page. I did those last week, and and B Nguyen. Nick interviewed B Nguyen ahead of her fight, so go peep that out too.
And I am, I can't remember if I mentioned it, but gonna speak to Chatri soon, I think, as well, maybe this week. So we get a little update on everything. One championship from him. I know you guys love our chats.
You're some buddies. You're buddies.
Yeah. So we'll see what he's got to say about all this Empower card and the Grand Prix and what is it called? 1X? The anniversary show.
I don't even know. I didn't even.
Yeah, they announced some kind of anniversary show during the last card, and there's no date for it yet, but it's like the 10-year anniversary. So I imagine it's the next one after Empower, maybe, or it's going to be September, I think. So I'm sure they are lining up a big card there. Maybe that's going to be Ongla and Yushino Kami. And I don't know, if Tanlei is ready. But you got to think they may have a couple title fights on that, right? I'm trying to think what else they could throw together.
They should. They should
heavyweight
have some title fights, yeah.
Maybe Arjan will defend. I don't know. I haven't seen anyone. Yeah, Kang. I haven't really heard any rumblings of anything else, so we'll see. Yeah, as WMAC now says, can't wait to see what they do for the anniversary. You got to think it would be, they'll pull some rabbits out of the hat, right? You got to have a big card. Just look what they did for Century. What was that? Their 100th show. They did a double card, title fights galore. I'm sure we'll see some belts on the line. I don't know. Anyways, thanks for joining us, everyone. Appreciate it. We'll see you back here maybe in 2 days' time. I'll do another show Thursday morning, Asia, and Wednesday night, US, and all that stuff. I'm not great with the time zones, but yeah, and thank you, John. Appreciate it as always. And we'll see you all again next time.